Hello, a pleasant morning to you all, a wonderful morning to you all. How I've missed you so much, and I trust you have missed me too. Um, like I told you, in the previous class when we had mathematics class, I told you that we can have a physical class right now because of the pandemic that's ravaging the entire nation of the world. But I believe sooner than later, very soon, by the grace of God, this whole thing will come to an end. So we'll all come back to our various classes and resume back our normal learning. All right, before then, we have decided to go online. Online classes has begun. All right, today I'll be teaching you basic science, and you know it's a subject I love to teach very, very much. All right, and it's going to be an interesting topic today. The topic today is safety. Can you say that after me? The topic today is safety. Can you say it after me? The topic today is safety. Can you say that after me? The topic today is safety. Now, you will be wondering, what's safety? We talk about it every day. Even right now, you and I, your dad, your mom, your siblings ought to think safety. We have to be thinking about safety every day. You know why? Don't worry. As we go on in the class, you understand why I've said that. Now, let's go to the objectives of today's topic. The objectives: you're supposed to be able to explain the meaning of safety after today's class. And number two, you should be able to explain the meaning of accident. Whoa, don't worry. You and I are never going to be involved in any form of accident whatsoever in Jesus' name. Now, the number third point, you should be able to list and explain the types of accidents. The next one, you should be able to mention 5 ways of preventing accidents. And the next one, you should be able to explain the meaning of first aid box and the content in the first aid box. Then lastly, on today's topic, you should be able to list and explain the uses of the content in a first aid box. Before we go ahead, look at this. What is safety? Ask yourself, what is safety? I'm trying to whet your appetite. I'm trying to make you think, reason, think out of the box. What do you think safety is all about? You've been hearing the word safety, SAFETY. Safety, what does it mean? And the picture you are looking at right here says safety is everyone's business. How true is that? Yes, it's everyone's business. I said it earlier on that you and I, daddy, your entire family, your siblings, your friends, everyone around the world should think safety because it's everyone's business. I'm taking you on a journey. Now, the previous slides ask the question, what is safety? And here is the answer. Safety is the state of being free from harm or danger. Safety is the state of being free from harm or danger. When you don't have to worry, when your mind is at peace, when you're not involved in any form of accident, you don't have injuries, you are not nursing any wounds, you are not in the hospital, you are not being carried from one place to another, you are in one piece, hale and hearty, because you're thinking about safety. So safety is the state of being free from harm or danger. It is the measures or precautions taken to prevent accident. What does that mean? If you're making sure on a daily basis that you are always being free, avoiding things that can lead to injuries, avoiding things that can get you injured, avoiding things that can make you sustain injuries, either on your head or any part of your body. Like, for example, as you're in your house, you're not playing rough, you are not touching electrical appliances, you are not playing with naked wires, electrical wires around the house, you're not putting your hands into electrical sockets. You're not going to run the bath, hot bath, when your parent has not asked you to do so. So when you don't do all of these things, you're putting measures and precautions in place to avoid accident. Okay, let's take for instance the one that NCDC has told us about and WHO has told us about. We've been told that we should wash our hands regularly. Is a measure. We should wash our hands regularly. It's a precautionary step. We should wash our hands regularly with soap and water, and afterwards, we should sanitize our hands with an alcohol based sanitizer. These things are what? Safety precautions. Then, if you must go out, you should use a protective mask that prevents you from what? Contracting the deadly coronavirus. All these things is for our own good so that we won't get into trouble. So focus on safety. Tell your friends, say focus on safety. Everywhere you go around the house, focus on safety. And on to the next one. Let's look at this next slide. Now, what do you think these pictures are? What do you think these are? What do you think this is? What do you think this is? Can you tell me what that is? If you know, just hold on. If you know it, just write it down. When you're submitting your assignment, you show it to me. All right. Now, let me quickly help you out here. These are what we call safety equipment or gears. What did I say? They are safety equipment or gears. I repeat once more. They are safety equipment or gears. What do we mean by safety equipment or gears? Now, personal protective equipment called PPE. In construction sites, in factories, this word PPE is very common. Now, PPE means personal protective equipment. These things are the gears, the equipment that are being worn by people who work in construction sites or who work in people who work in laboratories or factories. Now, they are equipment or gears that you use to guarantee your own safety. For instance, how can you be working in a construction site without an helmet on? You want to get yourself in trouble. You know why you must wear an helmet? Because if you are down a tall building, you are down in front of a tall building and it's a construction site, anything can drop from up below and hit your head. And our head is very delicate. If it hits your head, you can sustain injury. That is why if you're walking in a construction site or in a factory or in a laboratory, you must put on an helmet. So helmet, protective vest, boots, goggles, protective mask, hand gloves, nose mask, all these are what we call personal protective gears. So use personal protective equipment always and everywhere necessary, especially now. Please, I beg you in the name of God, do not go anywhere without you wearing your protective mask and without you washing your hands and rubbing your hands with sanitizer. When you go out, do that, and when you come back in, do not touch anyone until you have washed your hands with soap and water and rub on sanitizer. Is that clear? Then observe the instructions for use. Maintain them well and check if they still offer sufficient protection. I am using the time we're in as an example. If you're wearing a protective mask, a nose mask. You go out, when you return or on your return, make sure you take out that protective mask and wash it if it's reusable. I repeat, if it's reusable. But if it's disposable, those other netty ones that are disposable, do not reuse them. Dispose of them immediately you return from wherever you went. Is that okay? Now, let's move on to the next slide. The following are personal protective equipment that I've shown you in the previous slides. I showed you some protective gears like the helmet, protective vest, the nose mask, the hand gloves. Now, I've explained them right here. I said the following are personal safety protective equipment. Number one is helmet. What did I say? Helmet. I just told you in the previous slide that if you work in a construction site, laboratories, or factories, you must always wear helmet. This is a gear worn on the head to prevent injuries to the head. So helmet is a gear that is worn on the head to protect you from injury. And second one is safety glasses. This one is very, very important. If you're going swimming, those who belong to swimming classes, whenever we're going for our swimming classes, you have been told from day one, never you go to your swimming classes without you having your goggles on and the rest of the gears. So one of the very important gear is safety glasses. And what's the safety glasses? This is a gear worn on the face to protect the eyes from injury. There is a saying that says that the eye is the light of the entire body. God forbid, without your eyes, you can't see anything. And our eyes is very delicate, and sensitive. Therefore, we must protect our eyes. Look at statistics has shown that around the world, over 600 people worldwide sustain eye injuries during their work time. This is why you must protect your eyes. Do not poke your eyes with sharp objects. Do not put unknown substance into your eyes. Do not open your eyes into the sun. If you must go swimming, use safety goggles, and especially those that do welding work. I'm not saying wedding. I said welding. WELDING. Those whose work entails joining irons together by the means of infrared lights. So those ones, if you must have seen welders working, those ones who make iron gates, working while they put on these goggles. It is to protect their eyes from the sparkling of the light. All right. So you have learned here that it's very, very important for you to put all this on your helmet, your safety glasses when walking. All right. Let's go on to the next gears we shall be talking about. The next one is hand gloves. Now, for instance, if you work in the medical department, you work in the lab, for instance, okay, as a pupil, you're being taken to the lab and you're mixing chemicals. Chemicals are very dangerous substances that shouldn't touch your bare skin. Some of them are corrosive. What do I mean by corrosive? That means they can burn. They can burn your hands, they can burn your skin if it touches your skin. So you must always wear hand gloves when working in the laboratories, when working in the workshop. So it is a very, very important gear to have on when working in the workshop or in the laboratory. I said here that hand gloves, this is a safety gear used to protect the hands from injuries and from contracting viruses and germs. Next one is safety reflective jackets. Now, you must have seen those who work in the laboratories, those who work in factories, wear this overall kind of gear. It is to protect them and protect their body from burns. You never can tell if they are working with hot substances. If they have this safety jacket on, they might be prevented from being burned by hot substances. That is why this safety jacket is very important. It is not only used by people in the laboratory who work in the laboratories or who work in the workshop. Traffic warders or traffic wardens also make use of reflective jackets. In the airport, you see these guys that try to direct and control the aeroplane when it lands. They have this sign on and this reflective jacket on. The reflective jacket is to enable someone who is far off, someone who is far away, to be able to see ahead of them someone who is trying to direct them on the way or the direction to go. That is a reflective jacket. So look around, you will see it being worn by these guys who control traffic. The next one is boots. Very, very important. If you're working in the farm, you must wear boots in order to prevent your legs from being injured. Or you can even be bitten by snakes, scorpions, or other dangerous, creepy animals. This is why you must always wear boots. If you're working in the workshop, you're working in the factories, you must wear boots. Boots is a gear that is worn on the legs to protect the feet from injuries, especially on construction sites or in the factories. You see how important that is? The next one is protective mask. I've talked about that, especially this time. It is very, very dangerous for you to go out without wearing a protective mask on. What does it do? It protects your nose and your mouth from inhaling or ingesting poisonous gases, from inhaling or ingesting viruses, harmful substances into your system, like the coronavirus. It's a virus that can move from one person to another. If someone sneezes, someone who is infected, if he or she sneezes without properly covering his nose, and the droplet falls on a surface or falls directly on someone's nose, the next thing, the virus goes into your nostrils and the person is infected. So it is very, very important for you to go out with your nose mask on so that you won't contract this deadly coronavirus. It will not be a portion in Jesus' name. Right, let's move on. Our next slide, we're going to be talking about accidents. We will never be involved in any form of accident in Jesus' name. Now, what is an accident? Have you ever witnessed any accident before? Maybe you were traveling with daddy and mommy and you saw an accident that's just happened or that happened right before you got there. Or you even saw it on TV. What is accident? Or what is an accident? An accident is an unplanned event that happens suddenly which causes harm or injury. You don't plan for it. It just happened. You were not thinking about it. It just happened. It might be as a result of carelessness. It might be as a result of rough play. But accident is an unplanned event that happens suddenly and always leads to damages, always leads to injuries, always leads to loss of lives and properties. Like I stated here, that accidents sometimes result in loss of lives and properties. Can you see the pictures? See the car wreck. Two different cars ramming into each other, running into each other, and at the end of the day, the cars are in total mess. And look at that guy over there. The guy is probably injured. Maybe maybe he is temporarily unconscious or something. Look at this boy over here. He has been run down by a vehicle, a guy that was riding his bike. You see, he's not wearing any helmet, no protective gear on. It is dangerous. Do not ride your bikes on the highway. That is another lesson right there. Ride your bike. If you live in an estate, make sure you ride your bike on the pedestrian lane in your estate, not on the highway, not on the express, but on the pedestrian lane. If there's a bike lane, maintain that. Don't ride your bike on the express. Do not. You can even ride your bike in your compound. You don't have to go out. So please, I beg of you, accidents destroy and is claiming a lot of lives. It can even leave one for the rest of his or her life crippled, amputated. We have seen people who have just one legs, one hand. You don't want to be that. So please be careful. So accidents and unplanned event that happens suddenly and causes damages and injuries, and most times result into loss of lives and properties. Now let's go to types of accidents. Accident is grouped into three. We have home accidents, we have road accidents, and we have factories or industry accidents. In the next slide, I will be showing you that. The number one type of accident we'll be looking at is what? Home accident. What is home accident? The accident that happens at home. Home accident is the accident that happens at home that causes damages. An example of such accident is falls. When you fall down or you strip as a result of slippery fall. And sometimes some of you carelessly throw some things on the floor. For example, after having a nice desert, the desert you had was a banana. You're supposed to eat your banana and properly dispose of the peel. But some of you just litter it on the floor. And what happens? A friend of yours just step on it, or your friend or your brother just step on it. The next thing is what? He would fall or strip or slip. So these things causes accident around the house. Do not carelessly litter the floor. Make sure you dispose of whatever dirt it is in the right place. Where? The waste bin. So these are accidents that happen at home, falls, burns, or fire. Look at this. This woman was probably cooking in the kitchen, and what God knows what happened. The next thing, fire. Look at this gas. That kitchen is in mess. If care is not taken, if there's no fire extinguisher in that house, the house will go in flames. So these are accidents that happen at home. The next one is caught. You should not play with sharp objects. We've always told you that at home, in school, don't play with sharp objects. Sharp objects like razor, like blade, like razor, like knife, and scissors. Don't play with them. They're very dangerous. Another one is bruises. When you're playing football in the field at home with your friend and you fall and you bruise your leg, you're having bruises on your legs or maybe your arm, your elbow, that is bruises. Suffocation. What do we mean by suffocation? When someone is dying out of air, when there is no air, when someone cannot breathe as a result of lack of ventilation. What do we mean by ventilation? For instance, your room should be the type that has windows. When there is no light, you should open your windows. You shouldn't close them. Open them so that there will be cross ventilation. What does that mean? There will be inflow of air, and that air is oxygen. And you, as a human being, you need oxygen to live and to survive. But for instance, if you close your window, you shut your door, the whole place is airtight, and you are so many in the room, what do you think is going to happen? There's so many of you in the room, the windows are closed, the door is locked, the place will be airtight, and before you know it, you will all be gasping for breath. That is what causes suffocation, and people die from this suffocation because your lungs will not have oxygen to make sure that you are breathing. And when that happens, when the oxygen is cut out, the person die out of oxygen. And the next thing is the lungs will shut off, and oxygen will not be passed to the brain, and oxygen will be circulated to the blood. You know, we've been taught circulatory system that your blood carries oxygen around your body, and the moment oxygen supply is stopped or is cut off from circulating through your body, what happens? The person dies. That's suffocation. The next one is dislocation. What does dislocation means? When you play roughly, when you playing football and you engage your friend in rough tackle and the person falls down in a very aggressive way, what's going to happen to that person? The person might break any part of his bone. It might break his hand bone or leg bone, and that is dislocation. And there's a very, very dangerous one. That one is called fracture. That one is total breaking of the bone. But this one, dislocation, maybe at your joint, the two joints is disjointed. That means one bone is knocked out of the socket. So that is dislocation. Please be careful. This thing happens at home. And the one that is so dreadful is this electric shock, the one we call electrocution. It will not be your portion. There was this news that is making around the entertainment industry. There's this dancer, popular dancer called Kodak. She died last week from electric shock. She was in a dancing studio and she was charging her phone, a plugged phone that is connected to electricity, and she was receiving a call at the same time. And there was a power surge. She was electrocuted and she died. In fact, the imprint of the phone was, the mark was left on her chest and smoke coming from her nose. A popular dancer, and that's how she died. Please, I beg you, when you're charging your phone, do not use it. Tell mommy, tell daddy, when their phones is plugged to electricity, they should not make phone calls with it. They should not type on it. They should unplug the phone before using. It is very, very dangerous to avoid electrocution. Yes, let's go to the next slide, people. Okay, the next one is road accidents. This is very common too. What do we mean by road accidents? Accident that happened on our roads on daily basis as a result of our carelessness. So accident that happen on roads is called road accident. And this claims lots of lives and properties on a daily basis. Look at this picture. I feel for this man right here. See, couple, the wife is dead and he is crying. It could have been avoided if only we obey traffic rules and regulation. One of it is do not overspeed, don't drink and drive, don't call while driving, don't text while driving. All these things, if we obey them, we will avoid all of these road accidents. Look at this. A truck loaded with logs ran into a car. So please tell mommy and daddy when driving, mommy, please don't call. If you must answer your phone call, pull over and answer the phone call. And when done, you can proceed on your journey. So this is the second type of accident that we're talking about. And in the next slide, we'll be looking at the third type of accident. The next type of accident is industry or factory accident. These are the accidents that happens in the laboratories, in the factories, and in industries where construction work goes on. So look at this guy over here. What do you think happened to him? He's feeling pains. Maybe he probably fell from a ladder and he's so in pain. I can feel his pain right here. So we must obey every safety rules laid down in our workplaces. What do you think is going to happen to him if he had not had this helmet on? If he does not have helmet on, maybe you will probably be dead by now. So please, it is very important that we, as a construction site worker, wear your helmet, wear your boot to safeguard you from any form of accident. Quickly, let's look at causes of accident. Causes of accidents. Here are quite a number of causes of accident. We're going to run through them right now. The following are causes of accidents. Number one is drunk driving. I mentioned it. In Nigeria, it's so common all over the world. People would go to beer parlors, they will go to the clubs, dead drunk, and the next thing they get into their car and start driving. How can someone who is drunk be able to drive? Someone who is drunk would not be thinking straight. Someone who is drunk will not be in his or her right sense of mind. So please tell everyone not to drink and drive. So drunk driving is one cause of accident. Another one is over speeding. Speeding. There is a particular limit, speed limit at a particular road. Do not exceed the exact speed limit. Drive at the exact speed limit you should drive on any particular road. So if we obey all these things, we can avoid all kinds of accidents, especially road accidents. Another one is reckless driving. What do you mean reckless driving? You're driving rough, raving, swerving from left to right, from one place to another, trying to take over. Yes, I want to take over that car. I want to run faster than that car. I want to go faster. My car is still in good shape. No, we are not animals. So we shouldn't drive like that. You should drive like someone who is educated, who is sensible. There is a popular saying that says, if you're driving a car, you are the only sensible person on that road. Why should it be? If we are all sensible and we are applying our senses, we would avoid road accidents. So please, we should avoid reckless driving. Another one is running red lights. What does that mean? We all know our traffic light. We have the red sign, we have the yellow, and we have the green. The red says what? The red says stop. It's danger. Whenever the traffic light goes red, you must stop. But it's a lie. A lot of us, Nigerians, we run the red light. When the traffic light shows red, that is the time we want to, change gear and put our car in motion. No, it's wrong. The reason why the red light has stopped you is because there is an oncoming vehicle. There may be an oncoming vehicle, so that you have to stop for that vehicle to pass. But if you run the red light, what happens? There will be head-on collision. What do we mean? What do we mean head-on collision? When an oncoming vehicle runs into another one coming ahead of the vehicle, and this will cause a ghastly accident that results into loss of life and property. don't run the red light. When the red light says stop, stop. The yellow says what? Ready. And the green says go quickly. Another one is night driving. Do not drive at night. Another one is sign, design defect or lack of proper maintenance. What does that mean? Now, sometimes you buy a particular machine or vehicle or tools from the factory new, but you discover that while using it, it just developed a fault. That is not your own fault. That's what we call design defect. It happens to car too. A car that is in good shape. I just bought my own car. I'm driving, and suddenly the brake fails. These things happen. So another one is tailgating. What does that mean? If you're driving, you should give a considerable distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. Do not get too close. We do that a lot. Why? It's wrong. Don't get too close with the vehicle in front of you. If you do that, it's called tailgating. Why? Another one is wrong way driving or improper turns. Now, there are road signs everywhere. There's a place for U-turn. There's a place for, T-junction. You should obey them. You shouldn't turn where you shouldn't turn. Another one is improper turns. Thank God for LASMA. The LASMA, those traffic wardens. If you do that, you'll be caught. And the pension or the penalty you pay will be very, very huge. So obey all these traffic laws. Another one is teenage drivers. If you're a teenager, you shouldn't drive a vehicle until you're 18 and you've gotten your driver's license. That is when you can drive a vehicle. The next one is driving under the influence of drugs. What does that mean? There are all kinds of drugs. You have been taught drugs. You know that drugs are these harmful substances that people take to enhance their ability to act and do extra activities. They will become hyperactive. They want to run more than Usain Bolt. These are drugs that causes hyperactivity, and you don't need it. It doesn't pay because it destroys life. So you should not even don't even get close to drug, let alone driving under the influence of drug. So this is another reason for road accident. Another one is driving or operating machines while on medication. If you're sick, there are some drugs that make you drowsy. For instance, cough syrup. If you take cough syrup, sometimes it make you want to sleep. It is not your fault. It is the drowsy effect of the cough syrups on you. So you advise whenever you're on medication that makes you drowsy, that makes you sleepy, that makes you dizzy, do not drive. Do not operate machines. Do not operate any tool. Another one is bad roads or pothole. That is not our fault. For instance, a country such as Nigeria, we have bad roads, terrible roads. And this often causes accidents on our roads and potholes. The car just ran into a pothole, the next thing jump off and somersaulted, So that's it. Another one is tire blowout. If you're driving on a high motion, suddenly the tire just burst. Boom! On a high speed. What do you think is going to happen to that car? The car will somersault. It will tumble. So that's another cause of accident. Another one is animal crossing. These Fulani guys do that a lot. You're driving and you can't even see ahead. And before you know, before you say Jack Robinson, you have even driven so close to a point where these cows are being led to cross the road or to cross the express. It's wrong. This is another reason why we have lots of accidents on our road. Another one is stress. If you are tired, if you have gone through a lot of stress, work, it is better you don't drive. It is better you don't go to the kitchen to say you want to cook. And you're cooking, you left the kitchen, you went to sleep. What happens? The kitchen might go in flames. if you're not careful. So when you're stressed, when you have fatigue, you are tired. Fatigue means tiredness. Do not operate machine. Do not drive. Another one is dehydration. What does dehydration mean? All this dehydration, this stress or fatigue are reasons, are causes of accidents in our workplace, in our offices. If you are dehydrated, to be dehydrated means you feel dry, you are running out of moist water. It means you need to take lots of water to get yourself hydrated. When you have lost lots of water due to sweating, due to rigorous activity, exercise, that is when you feel dehydrated. You need to take water. Do not operate machines. Do not drive. Do not do extra work when you're dehydrated. And the last one under the causes of accident is improper or poor handling of tools and machines. If you don't know how to drive, you don't have any business driving. If you don't know how to handle any particular machine, you don't have any business going there. You don't know how to turn on the gen, don't go there. So all of these are causes of accidents. The next picture I will be showing us, it will spur me to the next thing we shall be talking about. Now look at this photo. What do you think this man or woman is doing? She's in a car and she's trying to use her seat belt. She's trying to use her seat belt. Oh, look at these lovely children. What do you think they are doing? They are playing with electrical appliances. They are putting their hands in the socket, which I said earlier on is very dangerous. They can get electric shocks or electric surge or electrocuted. Look at this. Very dangerous. That appliance is plugged, and that little boy or girl he or she is biting it with her teeth or his teeth. Oh God, goodness me, that is dangerous. So this is very dangerous. These are things, these two things below here, these two pictures, don't ever, ever do this. Ever do this. But you should always do this. Wear your seatbelt whenever you are in mommy or daddy's car. So that leads us to ways of preventing accident. We can prevent accident by avoiding what causes it. Some of the ways of preventing accident are: number one, do not drink and drive. Number two, do not drive or operate machines or be allowed to handle tools when under the influence of drugs or when on medication. When you're on medication, don't drive. When you're under the influence of drugs, don't drive. Next one, put on your seat belt when driving. I have said that before. Wear helmets when riding a bike or a motorcycle or when working on a factory or a construction site. Always wear your helmet when riding your bike, driving motorcycle, or working in a construction site. Next one, wear the necessary safety protective gears when walking. I have mentioned all the protective safety, all the protective safety gears, like your helmet, your hand gloves, your protective mask, your safety jacket, your boots. Very important. Those are your safety gears. Follow the instruction manuals of equipment and tools properly when using them. There is always manuals for every tool, for every machine, for every vehicle. So when you buy your tool newly, go through the manual. When you buy your machine newly, go through the manual. When you buy your vehicle newly and you don't know how to operate it, go through the manual. It's very important. The next one, avoid careless play when in the kitchen, laboratory, or workshop. Don't play carelessly in the kitchen. Very dangerous. Don't play carelessly in the laboratory. They are not play zone. They are not your play toy carts. So don't play carelessly in these places. Next one is always turn off electrical appliances when not in use. Very important. If you want to go out of the house, turn off the light, turn off the fans, turn off the bulbs, switch off the cooking gas, the electric cooker. turn them off. It's very, very important. So always turn off electrical appliances when not in use. Next one, keep medicine, sharp objects, electrical appliances away from reach of children. Keep medicines, sharp objects, electrical appliances away from the reach of children. It's very, very important. Don't keep your medication, don't keep your medicine where your younger ones will reach them. The sharp object, don't keep them where your younger ones will reach them. The electrical appliances, don't keep them where your younger ones will reach them. Then the next one is install fire extinguisher. Install fire extinguisher in offices, laboratories, factories, workshops, and in schools in case of fire outbreak. It's very important. If there's any fire outbreak, if there's fire extinguisher, the next thing you do, just get it and you can easily put out the fire. The last one on this is always follow all safety precautions. All the safety precautions, like all the safety precautions we have been given to observe to prevent us from contracting coronavirus, let's make sure we keep to it. Now, look at this next thing I'm going to be showing you. Some safety signs. These are some safety signs. You can look at this sign. It says no bikes. That means don't ride bikes here. This one's telling you that school children are crossing. Therefore, if you're driving and you see this sign, you should slow down. This one says is only walkway. So if you see the sign, you're driving and you get close to this place, slow down. It's only walkway. And don't drive around this environment. It's only walkway. This one says don't walk. That means don't walk in this area. It is strictly either for vehicles, motorcycles, or tricycle. Look at this. This one says bike route. It means only bike and bikers are allowed to ride here. This one says stop. If you see this, stop. Don't move. This one says danger. In most cases where your electrical wires are connected, you often find this there. Danger, keep off. Sometimes you see it where gas station or gas pipelines are laid. So you see things like this there. Danger, keep off. This one say railroad crossing. So when a rail that is coming comes across this place, the rail will stop. This one say no pedestrians. Pedestrians are people walking on legs. Pedestrians are people walking on legs. So when you see this sign, do not walk there. It's strictly for vehicles, cars, lorries, buses, motorcycles, and tricycles. This one says pedestrians crossing. That means people walking on legs are crossing here. So when you get close to this place and you're driving, you should slow down. This one say yield. That means obey, yield, listen, obey, observe. This one say handicapped. If you have ever entered or boarded the BRT buses, there is a corner meant for handicapped people. Who are handicapped? People whose leg are amputated or whose hands are amputated, who have one leg or one arm, or who are blind. So this section is meant for them. It shows they are handicapped, and therefore you should not sit where um, is meant for them. So this one say flammable. What do we mean by flammable? Things that can easily go out in fire. For instance, your insecticide. When it's empty, do not put that thing in fire because it is combustible. What do we mean by combustible? It can easily go out in flames, in fire, and it can result into a huge fire that cannot be put out except with the help of firefighters. And lastly, this one say exit. Into a building, into an office, into any place, there is always an entry point and an exit point. This exit means way out. Entry means or entrance or entry means way in. Way to go in, and exit means way out. Now, lastly, it is very, very important we do this. Safety first. What did I say? Safety first. Just as the name of your school is, God first. As you think God first, always think safety first. Because when you think safety first, you think safe and you walk safe. Please bear in mind, the federal government of Nigeria has told us, the Center for Disease Control has also told us that we should always maintain social distancing. Don't go partying. For now, don't go to churches. For now, don't go to mosque. You can pray in your houses. And if you must go out to the mall, to the supermarket, to wherever, just make sure when you go out and when you come in, wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water. And when you're done, rub on alcohol based sanitizer. And if you must go out, I repeat, use a protective mask. The one we call face mask is to protect you from contracting the deadly virus, coronavirus. Corona will not get to you, it will not get to me. We shall all be protected in the name of God. The next thing is your assignment. It's very important. I haven't taught you all these things. I expect a feedback from you, a feedback. And the feedback is this: do the assignment and get it submitted before the next class. Number one says, define the following: safety, accident. Number two, list the types of accident. Number three, mention 5 causes of accident. Number four, mention 5 ways in which accident can be prevented. Number five, list 5 personal safety protective equipment and their uses. Thank you. See you in the next class. Bye for now.